I'm with John Connor on this one, folks. The future's not set. There's no fate but what we make for ourselves. But it is still very tempting to skim a few pages ahead, and that's what the authors assembled here have done. You'll find a dozen different takes on fate in this anthology, active and passive, dark and light, but above all else you'll find that fate shaped and wielded by some of the most well-realised sympathetic characters I've read in a long time. Marta, the heroine of Power Steering by Wendy M. Wagner, is a standout. Marta's a nice, tired, worn-down woman in a marriage she's no longer entirely sure of, and is suddenly faced with a completely safe place to acknowledge that, and a business opportunity unlike any on Earth. All from a fortune cookie. The thing that makes this one shine is Wendy's ability to put us in Marta's shoes. Each one of her choices feels grounded and real, and it's a great story, and not just because it confirms something I've suspected for a while now. Bakeries are magic. Black Swan Oracle by the always excellent Ferret Steinmetz turns the idea on its head, focusing not on the recipient of fate but the oracle themselves. Steinmetz's distanced, precise language maps onto the thought processes of the oracle perfectly, taking us on a journey through endless probabilities, almost all of them bad. It's a cold piece, but it needs to be, looking at fate not as a destination but a transmission medium for short-term solutions, and the growing, constant dissatisfaction of the oracle. Gazing into the Carnauba wax eyes of the future by Kefi R.M. Curley turns the story on its head once again, focusing not on an oracle or a recipient of their wisdom, but someone stuck halfway between. The idea of using a sugar rush to kickstart your oracular abilities is equal parts disgusting and wonderful, and the drug of choice, Peeps, is a wonderfully nasty idea. Kefi's story sits the lead squarely at the point where two roads diverged, and choosing neither, instead frantically holding station whilst trying to sculpt the future into something they want. It's a heroic idea, and a doomed one, but it's also impossible to back away from. The future is always there, always just out of reach, and always better than the present. Faced with a choice between being a ghost in your own life or eternally pressed up against the window of the best party in the world, which would you go for? All writers are oracles. Very few writers have the strength to look at that constant need for the new, for the better, and to make something out of that. The stories presented here are all head-on explorations of fate, its attractions, its consequences, and everything in between. They're an extraordinary group of stories from an extraordinary group of authors, and assembled with seamless perception by the editors. I still agree with Mr. Connor, but if fate and destiny are forces in everyone's lives, I can't think of a better set of oracles to help us make sense of it all. Your future is here, and it's packed full of great stories.